All right, so this is like pretty much how all these jobs come out, like statement of work. Some of them thousands of pages, some of them just only be a few pages. This is similar to like the DOE, but the DOE is like 100 and some pages, and you got to fill out a lot of that information on there. So I'll show you that after that. So pretty much when you go through this, what I pay attention to really quick is like the summary of work. Pretty much where it's gonna be at. So we know it's gonna be like in Brooklyn. It's a big building. I Googled it. So I keep going. And this is where the work that we have to do. And I'm gonna show you the proposal I've written on top of this. So it's like 32 different items that's on, troubles on a system. And this right here where it says panel, card, device, only Edwards is labeled like that. So I'm hoping it's an Edwards system. And I'm hoping that they have software so we could do the full job. They don't have to hire nobody because I'll be able to buy the equipment, do all the programming, everything. Right. So I don't have to hire. If it's a different system, hopefully I charge enough money to hire somebody else to do whatever program we need to do. So that's why we got to email them like, yeah, when can we get in there? Because I need to survey the system visually the first day. So pretty much it explains what you need to do on the site, the time you got to be there, 6:30 to 3:30, who you got to report to. After doing this for so many times, you know what to look at. I don't read this thing in its entirety. I just read the sections that I really need to read and skim over really the rest. I go straight to payment to see how we gonna get paid. So right here, it explains, we got to do some meetings. Also look at the type of meetings and the submittals, because we got to make sure we submit the right paperwork so we can get paid the final payment in every payment. And here's where it's to breaking down the schedule of values and how we're going to get paid and whatnot. So they're just saying that it has to be broken down like how this is. You see how it has 32 items? So the schedule of values got to pretty much mimic that. Let me show you what the quote look like. So anytime I deal with government or I'm trying to press somebody, I want to say, I'm not going to send them that line by line quote. I'm going to put it like this. Yeah, and you see the picture because I use it depending on who it's going for. Like if I'm doing a camera job, I'll do some type of camera picture there. If I'm doing a fire alarm job, I do a fire alarm. You know what I mean? You get it, right? So this is government. So I do a government looking building.
Gotcha. Okay.
So this is just pretty much, I came up with this idea because I felt that I was sending out quotes for practice because I felt that they were just using my numbers for like, whatever information they was getting and not calling us for the work. So I put that in there. And this right here is like a cover letter, I want to say, to the person who provided the solicitation. So we addressing the person, giving the project name. This stuff is usually generic. This is static. You could just change that up according to the bid. It's a RFP, RFI, or RFQ. You want to just say those things.
Gotcha.
And all that. You put your name, you do these things, you can put your name and shit like that. So this is pretty much a template. So as you're going down, all this is going to stay the same. You're not going to change nothing here. All of this is going to stay the same. All of this is going to stay the same. All of this is going to stay the same. And usually I change this up if I'm dealing with like cameras. I'll put the latest camera job I did. Burglar alarm, the latest burglar alarm thing I did. You know what I mean? If I'm doing fire alarm, I put the Chapin Homes where I upgraded their purge system. So here are the like images of people I work with. And here I would also adjust this to put the most recent jobs that I did and try to put the highest price, shit like that. But this is generally stay static. If it's fire alarm, see this is all fire alarm. So I'll make sure I just put all the fire alarm stuff in here. Yeah. And show cameras. I put other jobs and whatnot. And all this is static. Well, we'll probably change this up. This should have said Brooklyn, New York, but it said Manhattan because this is the logistics, how we're going to be, handling the project and whatnot. And the general requirements comes from the scope of work. Those 32 items.
Yeah.
So I copied those 32 items and pasted it here. This letting them know that I read their paperwork and I understand what they're asking for by me repeating what they're asking me to do. So I slapped that in there and just the task not covered, simple stuff, flood, damage, paint, chips and all that. The type of personnel we got, the working conditions. Of course, you got to put COVID up in there, you know what I'm saying? What the deliverables are, like how we're going to, deliver the project, meetings, material, things like that. Where it's going to be at, the place of performance. Some of this stuff you'll be changing. And here is where I put each line item, those 32 line items. And then I just freestyled the number. I was like, all right, West Building's first floor smoke you want me to program that? All right, $6,500. Oh, you want me to install? $10,000. I'm just fucking really putting numbers. So when we complete that, we can bill for that. So essentially, let's say the project is $40,000, right? So we'll put, like I said, all those Tampa switches in here. We'll group all of the services up so that way we can have a lump sum number And then when we get paid off this number, how it works is we get paid $12,000, right? So the $12,000 will be zeroed out once we get paid. You see how it just changes. So all of this information changes on the spreadsheet and it tracks the money. So every time we get paid, we'll zero out, or whatever we get paid. Let's say we got paid $4,500, then it just keeps the balance. It keeps the percentage of how much we got paid, and it just tracks the numbers for every line item that you list on your schedule of values. So I just got to figure out which groups I'm gonna put together, plug them into the box, because the first one I always put like it's gonna be for like an initial deposit, project mobilization, walkthrough, survey, scheduling, administration type shit, and I'll probably put a value, but it has to add up to the total amount. So that way, every time you get paid, they see it go down, they see where you paid at, and they see where your progress is at. This is more or less to know how you can track a project month-wise.
That's a project bonus. Yeah.
Right. How much completion on the job you have, like where you at, if you're 10% completed, 98% completed, because a lot of times in construction, they have retainers, right? So every time you build, you have to minus 10% retainers. So at the end of the project, you only have a 10% balance left.